cover the EdgeFlow Alphabet Applied, which is EdgeFlow Alphabet Part 3. So you can see here I have the EdgeFlow Alphabet Part 3 project folder. It's just got some reference images in it, and the one that I will be working on today is going to be the modern kids clock. So if you want to follow along directly, feel free to do the modern kids clock, but there are other options available to you in here. Now, let's go ahead and jump into Maya. Load in my image plane. And I'm just going to slide it back a little bit so it's out of the way. And put it in a layer. And set that layer to reference. Alright, so just like we were covering in the EdgeFlow Alphabet Parts 1 and 2, we're going to be leaning on primitives to get the key edge flows in line, and then moving into Quadra to complete the rest of the puzzle. So this shape here you can see is very similar to the 2-hole cut from Lecture Activity, the EdgeFlow Alphabet Part 2. I'm basically going to use the same technique. So we've got 1 cylinder, 2 cylinders, 3, 4, 5. And just make a cylinder. And rotate it down. And start to place and align these elements. The small one, we can get away with having 8 segments. But for something bigger like the ear, we're definitely going to need more segments to get this shape. So I'm going to come over here and do, I think, 12 for this one. Duplicate, toggle my selection. And I think I'm going to stick to 12 for the little hole. Oh, I got to switch my selection. There we go. And there's no one perfect right answer for these. You know, you could do 12, you could do 16. There's a little bit of variability available. Get that to fall in line. Actually, before I do the scaling, I'm going to duplicate it. And do one for the back of the elephant. Now the back being so large, I'm definitely going to need to add some segments. So here, let's try 24. Alright, so now I got all my primitives kind of in place. Now I can go through and start to refine some of these. First thing I'm going to do is break everything down, so I am only working in flat planar shapes. There you can see kind of what we got going on now. And now I'm just going to start removing the stuff that is unnecessary. So in the case of the main body shape, I'm going to delete out the center. Actually, before I delete this out, I'm going to scale the inside ring. So I have a small edge ring channel. Now I can delete that out. And we can do a little bit of scaling this way so it fits a little bit nicer. Delete out the half of the ear here. Now you can see I modeled the positive, so I'm going to do the trick we did with the star, extrude to build that channel, and then delete to get the edge flow. And then just to keep things nice, I'm going to move these verts a little bit. Grab the tip of my eye, delete that out. And then down here, it's going to be the same kind of technique that we were doing with the ear. Extrude, pull that a little bit, get a nice little channel, and then delete the positive. And the same thing here. Get a nice little channel, and delete the positive out. Okay, so now I have all of my key edge flows in place, and I'm going to move into quad draw. But before I get into quad draw, I'm going to just collapse all these so that way they're in a single line. And actually the easy way to do that here is going to be to combine them. Mesh combine, go into vertex mode, grab all the verts, and I'm going to use grid snapping. That's X as an X-ray, to grid snap to the grid here, but we need to make sure keep spacing together is shut off. Got that. Now we need a polygon plane for quad draw. Scale this up so it fits in the space. I'm going to go ahead and make a layer for it. Call it quad draw plane. Let's name it so there's no confusion. And make it live. Set that layer to template. So now it is out of the way so I can work. Okay, go into quad draw. And now we can start to solve the puzzle. So I would start just like I did with the 2 hole cut shape with that border edge ring. Kind of connect the dots here. Leaning on that diagonal corner again. You may remember from lecture that I'm a fan of that. And we can tweak this a little bit if we need to. And then for the trunk, since it's a really narrow shape, we're just going to spin around in it. Alright, I can fill in the areas that are obvious. And just start to solve the puzzle. And I'm going to drop in another edge here. Can always strip this out later if we need to. And adjust these so they follow the shape a little bit better. And we'll just slowly work our way around the shape until hopefully we have something we are happy with. So up here, I think we'll jump those ones like that. Actually, I think we'll probably take this one out first and then jump it across. And that's just going to allow us a nice place for a junction so that way we can still have edges that run up if we need to. We might add that back in. And don't forget, you can always do the point system where you add the dots. And it looks like we got too many edges going on down here. So we'll just try to see if we can't solve this. Actually, I think it's going to work well. It's just doing an extra point there and there. Notice how I adjusted it to match the curvature. And we're just going to follow this up and around. Can add in some edges where necessary, but then don't forget to go back and adjust them to even them out. There we go. Keeping edges flowing in a logical manner. It doesn't really make sense for these horizontal ones to kind of jump up and down. Actually here we're going to need another edge. So this one has a place to go. Unless we're going to run that one down, which we could. Oh, that worked out quite nicely. Alright, so now the last thing I'm going to do before I call this done is going to be evening out my erratic edge flow. You can see, especially here on the back, things kind of got a little bit messy. So I'm just going to hit B to go into soft selection. If you hold B, middle mouse click, and drag, we can actually adjust the brush size here. So I'm going to do something relatively small. And I can hold Shift, which is going to be relax. Just going to come through here and dance on the edge flow a little bit. Just kind of soften that up. You don't want to go too crazy because you'll end up killing your shape. But we're just going to even it out a little bit so it looks a little bit nicer. And then we'll hit B again to shut that off. See if I can get my Maya to behave again. Come on, Maya. There we go. Sometimes Maya gets a little bit weird. I'm just going to roll with it. Alright, so now that my shape is done, I'm going to go ahead and shut off Quad Draw. Extrude for thickness. And then, of course, drop in our bevel. Let's up here, that bevel, things got a little bit weird. That's fine, we can just adjust it if we need to. I'm going to shut off the grids, it's a little bit easier to see what's going on. And there we have our elephant. Okay, so for the submission requirements, let's just go and double check the portal. And we have reference clearly visible, model, wireframe shaded, depth, bevel, and edge flow. So, pretty easy peasy. I'm just going to take this model, slide it back so it's near my reference, slide it over so I can still see both of them. turn on my wireframe on shaded. Actually shut off this one and do this. There we go. So there is the lecture activity deliverable. We have our reference clearly visible, our model clearly visible with wireframe unshaded, clean topology, a extruded for depth, and the bevel in place. Cool. There is all there is to it. If you have any questions, as per usual, feel free to reach out to me.